Namaste. I felt like going online live right now after many, many days, maybe a year. I'm doing a live session on Instagram today. So after putting a post on the flower, the fragrance part, it's more about actually the spiritual significance of those two flowers. And what happened in science class today, that was more interesting for me, and I'm going to share that how we can bring life and learning in life. So just yesterday one of the parents said, my child is feeling bored, my finding the classes bored. And I was like, okay, what can I do for it? It has been just a beginning and we have just spent a little bit of a time. There are so many different ways in which classes can be handled. How can in just a few classes a child would know that there are so many different ways one can learn, and so many ways one can interact. Yeah, our class size is very small. uh, it's hard for people to buy new ideas, maybe, or maybe I'm not reaching out rightly to the right people, whatever that reason might be. It was very interesting to see, to work upon this whole idea. So I started searching that, okay, why I get bored? What are the reasons behind it? I did a little bit of a research, took a help of a AI also to support in that research. And I got idea a little bit, okay, we can talk about the hormones, about dopamine and cortisols and something else. And few more interesting things came up by the time the class started. And as I was thinking and preparing for it, somewhere I was intuitively guided to do certain things. So in those certain things, I went to flower. So only this is the season you get that flower. They are basically cork tree flower, Indian cork tree flower, very fragrant, four petal. The two petals are joined together, and the way they open it up is also very unique and a very beautiful fragrance. Like I'm not able to describe it. So I was just collecting them, enjoying the smell, and being around in the little bit of our patch of trees and forest area. And then I came back and I started again working, and then class started, and the children were there, and then we started like, okay, do we get bored? Why we get bored? So they started sharing about the reasons they feel bored, when they feel bored about it. And then we started getting deeper into it about the science, and we took example of a food, the favorite chocolates they like and they have it. And with the chocolate, we first of all understand a little bit more about the taste and our taste buds and receptors in the tongue, and the what are those receptors means, about how they gets connected to our brain, and how our brain secretes certain hormone. And then there are glands, what is called neurotransmitter, and talking a little bit about dopamine and cortisols, and what is the stimulus, what is the response around it. And then we read one essay around science of boredom. It was so, the whole class became very interesting. Actually, they were participating, they were taking interest, they had questions, and the way it came out. And then we took there were theories around boredoms, and it's not necessary that each theory agrees with each other, because they are looking from a different perspective. One is looking from purely philosophical point of view, another is looking more from cognitive point of view, or psychological point of view, another is looking more from physiological and biological point of view. And each of this point of view has their own theories, so there is no one theory which is right. And so this widens your mind. But does such a things happens in a science class? I don't know if any science class we can talk about boredom of a science, or science of a boredom. Science classes are sometimes boring. I am not an entertainer. I am not a stand-up comedian in my science class all the time. Neither I am a good actor. I have my own limitations also. Sometimes class becomes too serious also, depending upon the questions. So the child was not happy. Maybe one or two times it was new. It was difficult. So this was also interesting point that you start feeling bored because now you can't pay attention because you are finding that task very very difficult. You are not able to do it, and that creates a boredom. And this is very important for any teachers to know that why child is not taking interest, why there is a boredom, because boredom in a way begins because I don't have an interest in this subject. And why I lose that interest, maybe I'm not paying that attention now, because I don't think it is that important, any value, existentially valuable thing for my life, or I'm finding it too difficult, or I'm finding it too easy. It's not challenging my brain enough. I don't have anything to engage with it. To, as one of the child said today, and the reason behind getting bored is uh, it doesn't give me that entertainment. I want to engage with it, but that entertainment, that joy from it is not coming. So today we spent almost 80 minutes behind exploring science of boredom in our SAIL 2081 science classes. And if I have to summarize in a gist, certain things which we have covered. So we talked a little bit about the tongue, the taste buds, and its connection with the our brain. Hello, Ketan. Hope you're doing good. Just sharing one of the experience which happened in science class today, and the flowers which I connected with it. The spiritual significance of that flower is transformations. How the one of the boring class transformed into interesting class, become more interactive, and lot of not lot of questions, but yes, there was a curiosity to figure it out and find out how to tackle boredom, why we get bored. And what I was sharing is about this aspect of a boredom where you feel not right arousal of it. So as I saying, true Krishna, we are not finding the daily use of those things. So these children get bored, and this boredom is good for creativity, problem solving, because then to remove the boredom, to mitigate this boredom, one of the way is to bring novelty, variety, do that same thing little differently, or do it with some adding some another spices into it, some sweetness into it, doing bringing some love into it, doing it with this attitude of service. Varieties of ways we can bring a lot of variety in doing the same thing, and we can remove that boredom from doing that particular work or any other task, because boredom asks you to change the activity, or engage in that activity more deeply, pay the attention about it. So that was also an interesting learning today with children, as we were exploring this subject of science of boredom. So we talked about the tongue, taste buds, connections, neurotransmitters, which is dopamine is a neurotransmitter. So we talk about the hormones, how the changes happen. We talk about physiology. Obviously, we talked about a lot of psychology because our topic is related with these sports. And despite I enjoy these sports, I feel bored if I have to do certain exercises to work around. So and then those who are watching live, or those who are going to do, if you have any such topic where science can be talked about in our daily life, we feel boredom. And today we explored science of boredom in our science class. If you also have any such topic to talk about, which is of our general daily life, and it's an integrated learning because life is connected. This is what children are experiencing in their classroom, and something where India is also moving towards more western part is everywhere you want entertainment. The classrooms needs to be entertaining, so make it more colorful, gamify everything, make it everything digital. But that's not which will survive. It is not a sustainable solution of mitigating this boredom coming out from learning, from the education system. Only way to mitigate is to bring real life experience and connection in our classrooms. And that's how we can make lessons interesting, we can make learning interesting, make it more interactive for every one of us, where teacher is also happy, students are also happy, and parents are also happy, obviously, because at the end what we want is a child is happy. So this is what is coming to me. If you have any questions, hello Maitri, hello Krishna. Any questions you can put in a comment. Maybe I would answer here or maybe later on. Yeah, boredom comes out when people have things to do but has no interest. So how we create the interest? What are the spikes? There are stimulus which gets generated. There is a release of a particular hormone called dopamine, and if it doesn't match the desired expectation, so we were talking about some certain experiments which we can do using different theories. So there are three theories behind boredom. So as per one of the theories, if your desire is not met with the right expectations, you would start feeling boredom because the stimulus has not generated. Yeah, fun learning is difficult part, but there is no need to making a teacher a joker in a classroom or forcing a teacher, because some subjects require a serious discussions. You can't gamify everything. You can't. There is no one ideal solution for this, which is like one pill solution, more like a Western European or allopathic medicine kind of a syndrome which we have. And somewhere I see we are getting into more and more into all those things, to the extent that for a 2-year old child now there are those cushion kind of books available which teach you how to tie a shoelaces and how to put a buttons in your shirt. There is no need. Child can do it really in the real life. There is no need of such a book. However beautiful, however colorful and nice they look, there is no need. It's a stupidity, extreme of a stupidity which we are doing and making teacher a joker in a classroom. We are degrading the value of it, but it was a fun learning today. In fact, class got extended because we couldn't complete it within 1 hour. All the reading and conversations and discussions around it. So it took almost 80 minutes, and I'm very grateful that child could share it with parent and then later on with me also, that why they felt boredom. And it was not actually the boredom because certain words we use kind of connotes, because we have a lack of vocabulary, emotional vocabulary, and share our psychological stuffs also with our parents, with our peers, our friends, our teachers, right? I am feeling difficulty. I am not able to understand something. It is not confusing. I am clear what is to be done, but I am not able to do it. Just admitting this part requires a sort of different attitude, different level of confidence and a courage, which everyone might not be having. So we need to address all this psychological areas also when we are talking about teaching learning aspect. It is not all fun things or some gullible one pill solutions which can be provided by gamification, storyfications, or making it cartoons and not of a thing. So this was the experience of today's session of Science of Boredom. And thank you so much for joining in the live sessions, doing it after a plenty of a time. So In a nutshell, intuitively, I was guided with that flower. Let me show you that flower also. Give me a second. I show you the flower how it is right now. Let me put on the light a little bit more here. So yes, so this the other one you see. This one, these are the Indian cork tree flower. Very, very pleasant. Not a mild, very strong fragrance. So if you find around, this is the season it blooms. In month of October it blooms. So I am just enchanted right now with its fragrance. So after connecting this flower, it just transformed my classroom where I had to have a conversation with the child who was feeling bored in my science class. And then we started discussing why we get bored, because boredom is an effect. So what is the cause behind it? And we wanted to establish cause effect relationship, causal relationships between them. And in that process we discovered the whole and talked about science of boredom, starting from learning about the tongue, learning about our nervous system little bit, learning about our own psychology, how our mind works, how we get addicted, even how habits are not habits are formed more, but how we get addicted to certain kind of chocolates and the sweets, and how we start liking and disliking particular things, hating particular things. All this came up into that one small sessions, and instead of a 60-minute we ended up spending 80 minutes in the classroom. So this is the flower which kind of I am giving them a credit, and the aspiration flowers which is in middle, parijat flower. So these two kind of connecting with them flew something, open up something very beautiful within me, and the class was wonderful. And I wish that we get bored to get more creative, bring it more variety and novelty in our life. And at the same time, whatever we do it with the love, with full of interest and enthusiasm, and we learn how to kind of cope, when to release. Can I really have a control over my hormone secretions? Because that's the essential thing. So, control over that might be the real science, not through something outward mechanism, but through mindfulness, through meditations. We can also dwell into this aspect of science of boredom and learn how to control our release of hormones. And that was also interesting. Children like that idea too. Let's see what happens in our next class. Thank you for joining me today. Take care. Bye bye.